Well, welcome everybody to our second of two in-season check-ins for our new officials, both first and second year evaluations. Jared Butson here. Joel Traver is on. We got a few other veterans on, and thanks everybody for joining us. A quick check-in to see where we're at. Clean up some questions and answers. Talk about some positioning, some mechanics, and then sort of taking a look at season end. What do we got to do to clean up the end of the season, more from an RAOA admin standpoint? And then what does my next year look like for you and possibly getting onto a varsity crew? So I'm going to stop talking and kick it on over to Joel. Once again, I'm having a little problems with my video popping up here, so I'm going to try and work on that. Maybe you'll see me, maybe you won't. So thanks, everyone. Joel, go ahead.
Sounds good. Thanks, JB. Again, hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for being on. The first thing that I'm going to start off with is based on some of the most recent from our last meeting, most recent eval submissions, just kind of an overview. We've had several people pass enough games to pass the program, so that's good. You'll be hearing from me in the next week if you've passed the 7 games required to move on and become a full member. So if you've reached that point, you'll hear from me this coming week. If you haven't, we'll make sure that you keep in the program and get the things that you need to keep moving forward. With that, though, really the primary thing, there are two overlapping or carry forward themes, that being using your voice, right? So continue to use your voice more and more and more consistently, right? So that's a carryover of most recent feedback from the first round. And then the second carryover is confidence. So continue to work on your confidence, and that voice and confidence certainly go hand in hand. I'm seeing Tim nod his head. But those are two carryover themes in the second round of feedback that we want you to keep working on. All right. So going into the final games here coming up, really improve your voice, your communication, and then your confidence, body language wise, and with what you want to say with coaches. Tim, I know you've worked some games. Do you have any?
Yeah, yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. Thanks, JT. So when we talk about voice, we're not talking about voice during the play. Okay, so you're not using your voice. Hey, stop holding, stop. This, that, or the other. Right. When we talk about using your voice, it's dead ball. Dead ball. For a lot of officials, think, oh, I got 30 seconds to do nothing. That's not the case. That's when we really have to work hard. That's the hardest part sometimes is the dead ball officiating. So and Joel Klunder, I know I've talked to you a lot about, we worked a lot of games together. That dead ball officiating, that's when we use our voice, and we use very distinct words like, dead, done, it's over, play's over, stop, let go, things like that. And we use that deep outside voice that my wife hates my outside voice, which is fine, but though that's when we need to use our voice, and that's what I'm talking about. Um, the voice, using your voice, can get you out of so many issues or problems, because when you use that, players hear you. They do hear you, and they recognize that, and they know that I don't want that 15-yard foul to come out, right? So absolutely use your voice, and that's dead ball. And then also on top of that, you can go and talk to a kid or a player and say, "Hey, nice job. Good job not to hit that quarterback. Good job not to hit that receiver before we have DPI or OPI, whatever the case may be." So yeah, use your voice. Use your voice. I mean, that's how we get away from going from 15 fouls a game to maybe 5 fouls a game, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And then to apply that, so dead ball, absolutely keep using your voice, get in there, roll off, plays dead, plays over, that type of thing. And then just reiterating what we talked about last time with working with our sidelines, right? I like to use the phrase, we're live, we're live. Royce brought up a good point. If they players and coaches start to crowd up into your space, you know, turning it to the more positive. Thanks for the room, guys. Thanks for the room. We appreciate it. Right. Just using that confidence in voice and that appreciative approach to say, thanks for the room, move back, that type of thing.
So speaking of sidelines, thank you. Maybe you all saw Jason Nicobe's email this past weekend or Friday night. That's important. It's a safety and it is a legal obligation, literally a legal obligation to clear those sidelines because you don't want to go into litigation. You just don't, to be perfectly honest. Clear them, be a dick if you have to, but clear those sidelines.
Good. Any questions about the first two carryover items between confidence and voice? Okay. Hearing none, the biggest thing from the most latest round of feedback is getting more into like the nitty-gritty, right? The more you can improve the finite details of your game, right? The better you're going to be as an overall official. So some of the next things that you're going to hear in the next 5-10 minutes is going to be really picky. But if we can improve on the small details, it's just going to make us that much better. So I've got a quick visual to show you. The first bit of pickiness here revolves around pre-snap routine. Now, I put together this little sheet a few years ago for the line of scrimmage folks. And so since that's where most of you as second years are primarily working, I know we've got you working at umpire sometimes. And that pre-snap routine at the umpire position will certainly differ. Tim's an expert, so feel free to hop in with you stuff, Tim. And likewise, if you get assigned as a back judge position, there might be a few things that you're going to want to sort of adjust here with pre-snap routine. However, it came back several times that, and Tim alluded to it a little bit, and, we have to be our best for, let's just say 115, 130 plays on any given night. Okay. We have to focus, we have to concentrate and give our best for that number of plays. And that can be difficult if you don't pay attention to your individual pre-snap routine every single time. Okay, we got to nail these pre-snap routines every single time. Okay, so here's an example of how I start off with our line of scrimmage. First of all, as the previous play ends, including the dead ball period, right? We want to be amazing, excellent dead ball officials. Okay, we want to widen our scope, widen our vision, see anything that's coming, going around players, right? That halo principle. So cleaning up the dead ball, we move then into the next play. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm checking on the clock status, right? Do we have a dead ball or dead clock? Do we have a live clock? And I'm peeking up at that clock. Now, I know we've had some clock issues throughout the year. At all levels. Even, I talked with Josh Dasher this past week, and they've the Big Ten has lost a total of like 24 seconds in games, which shouldn't happen, right? We shouldn't be losing 24 seconds throughout the number of games to this point in the season. So make sure that we're working with our clock folks and making sure that at least our status in this pre-snap routine is correct, whether it's rolling or whether it's stopped. Next, we want to figure out our down, our distance, right? Are we coming out of the end zone or are we going into the end zone, right? Minus territory versus plus territory. Where are we at in the game? Are we under 2 minutes, right? Do we have a team behind in the score that might want to try to score before halftime? So could they be using their timeout? So this is where the football IQ comes in, where we need to understand if it's 3rd and 1, under 2, that's a big first down, right? We need to make sure that we get to the sticks to make sure that we're, ruling on reaching the line to gain. So understanding the clock status, understanding the situation of the game, for me at least, is step number one. Then I'm checking for substitutions. Okay. It's not required in NFHS that we do any sort of signal for a substitution mechanic like we do in college. Yeah, Tim just put his arms out like we do in college. We don't do that in high school. However, it builds rapport with your sideline if you're able to tell your coaches, hey, coach, we've got 10. We've got 10. You need one more, right? So if you're counting players and you come to 10, no, we need 11, right? Work with your coaches. That only builds your confidence, your rapport, and your relationship with your sideline. And then with that, it's a second check on knowing the line to gain. This was a piece of feedback that I know I gave a couple of subs on our games this year, is that if you're working the line of scrimmage, you absolutely need to know the line to gain every single play. Okay. So checking players coming in, going off, and then knowing where we need to get to for a first down. So step three is counting those players, right? Again, a thing I just mentioned, I jumped the gun on it here. The thing that I do is it helps me work with the coaches. If you haven't picked up a systematic routine to count players, now's the time to work on that. You shouldn't be, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that it takes way too long.
3, 4.
So, yep. So, I group mine into threes. I go 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. That works for me. Tim, what did you offer up?
I said 4, 3, 4.
4, 3,
I count
4.
4, 3, 4 helmets.
Okay.
And I always count, by the way, I always count the offensive side, because I'm an umpire, so I count the offense. So I always count the offensive side last. So if the offense is on this side, I always go this way, right?
Correct.
Because
You
if I
start
start on
from-
this side and I go this way, I don't know if they may have slipped on another person. So
Yep.
that's an advanced mechanic, but something to think about.
And again, it's a picky detail, but and all of these things, as we get them into our routine and we get better at them, it just makes us that more efficient, that more confident to then, judge on the play. When we can confirm that we've got our 11 players, when we can confirm that we know our line to gain, and so on. Okay. Next, we want to confirm the legality of the offensive formation. Is there any motion, things like that? We don't want to get caught off guard. Obviously, if it's early in the season and if there's oddities in the offensive formation, right? Linemen need to get back or move up. Receivers need to get back, move up, that type of thing. That again helps us with our communication with the sidelines. We want to communicate those things. So we want to give a verbal warning, right? Coach, your offensive set was incorrect. The widest receiver needs to be off the line. He was too close to the line. That needs to be fixed. Okay, you got a verbal warning. If they don't fix it, next time we have a formation foul, right? And we want to keep track of those verbal warnings if we can. So we move from counting players to legality of the formation, right? Then we focus in our initial responsibilities, particularly if we have the widest receiver is on or off. We're going to communicate that with our sideline partner. All right. Next, we're going to make sure everybody's set prior to any sort of motion. If they don't all become set, we have a problem. And then we truly focus on our initial responsibilities or our keys, making sure that we get a clean start to the play. And then we work into that first round of progression of how the play develops, right? Whether we have a receiver going downfield as our initial responsibility, or if we're reading run, what we're doing around that with legality of holds and things like that. So thinking through those things ahead of time to anticipate. Specifically with the line of scrimmage, we're focusing on the center towards you, right? Knowing if we have a false false start or a defensive offside. Either way, in high school, we're going to kill that. And then finally, we get to our snap as the last piece. Again, making sure that it's nice and clean. Everybody gets off to a good start. And then we read the play from there. So this is just an example. If you'd like me to send this to you, shoot me an email. I can send it to you. But think really intentionally about your pre-snap routine, and then you must be an expert on that every single time. This really also helps keeps your focus throughout the game, right? We've all worked blowout games where it's easy to sort of get lost and not do these things step by step, and then we can find ourselves getting in trouble. So being excellent at the pre-snap routine not only prepares you to officiate the play correctly, but then it also keeps your focus and concentration where it needs to be.
So
questions or comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to do the same thing with the umpire position, if that's okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to bring this up and you want to modify it?
Yeah, because you want line of scrimmage, and obviously, or not obviously, but umpire and referee are a little bit different.
Yep.
So yeah, let's start with number one, clock status. Yes, know the clock. All right. I always think like a coach. That's what I'm thinking about. All right. So if we have 2nd and 1, he's probably going to go deep. Take a shot. Probably going to go deep. Probably going to be a pass play, not going to be a run play. Think about that. Check for substitution. Every play, I'm counting to 11. Every single play. I repeat that. Every single play, count to 11. Make sure you have your count. Count your sidelines. No. But I do agree, as an umpire, but I will agree with the line of scrimmage. Work with your coaches. I mean, my gosh, Jason Nickleby has always talked about bring water to that fire. Don't bring gasoline. Completely agree. Confirm the legality of an offensive formality or offensive formation. Not really our thing as an umpire. Again, number 5, not really our thing. Yes, number 6, because we could have guys going in motion, number 1. And number 2, we have, as an umpire, we have center, guard, tackle. Make sure they're in that position, that 3-point that 3-point position for at least a second. Now, at the younger levels, and I'm talking like 9th grade, maybe 10th grade, you give them a little leeway. At the varsity level, absolutely not. If they're not down for a second, you're going to flag that, and that's going to be a dead ball. Just throw it at a dead ball and go to false start. Okay. Focus on players from the center toward you. Yeah, expecting a false start. So if you're an umpire, this is me. I'm looking at the ball. I've got to see that ball. If there's any jerk, anything with that ball that kind of moves or simulates a snap, I'm flagging it. Now, I know the rule is you can't flip the ball, you can't turn it, you can't do all these other things. I'm a little lenient with that. I'm more interested in simulating the snap, doing a little wiggle, because that's going to call somebody offsides.
Now, can I just hop in right there real quick?
Yeah, absolutely, please.
I had a coach yelling for that this past Friday night. He can't move the ball. He can't move the ball. And so then my response to that is, Coach, he's not simulating the snap.
Correct.
Okay. So
and when you get to the varsity level, I will tell you this: I meet especially in college, but even at the varsity level, I meet with a coach or the center. I talk with them. I said, hey, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to try to put the ball where you want it as far as laces and that sort of thing. Don't simulate a snap. Don't take your hands off the ball. Don't pick it up and put it back down. Even at the varsity level, it's early in the game. I might say, hey, 59, don't lift the ball. Don't lift the ball. That gets you out of a foul. Because that's the last thing I want to see is a stupid foul like that. Just, hey, 59, don't lift the ball. So that's from an umpire standpoint, I think. I don't know if you want to add anything, JT, or anybody else. Hearing none, let's move on.
Okay.
Well, actually, can I ask a question related to pre-snap? And it's directed towards 9-man football. Who's the primary responsibility for the guard Because all numbers are eligible for going up for passes and things of that. Who's the
Umpire,
primary for the numbers?
umpire on the left side, referee on the right side.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Good
And you
question.
got to know, I mean, 9 man or 9 player can be challenging because we have no number exceptions, right? Everybody, I mean, you could have a 12 as a snapper. I mean, it stinks, but you just got to know 12 can't go, 12, you got to know what 12 can do and 12 can't do as a snapper.
Okay. I worked with two different crews and got two different answers, so I was just looking to see what the exact answer
So,
is.
so what was the correct answer? I got to know.
Uh, well, your answer was what one of them was. The other one said it's line of scrimmage officials' responsibility to know numbers for eligibility.
I,
I think as a crew, it should be everybody's responsibility, but I didn't know who kind of owns up to that.
so I would say, how is the line of scrimmage going to know if that's 12 or 92? How can he see that number or she see that number? That's my opinion. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Thanks for the answer.
The umpire and the referee will see 92, but as a line of scrimmage, you may see 12. Just a thought.
Yeah, I think the easiest way is to focus in on the snapper in that case, right? Just
Yeah.
knowing, ensuring that that person uh, is nailed down. So,
Right. Right.
So to throw a couple things on here, yeah, this is JB. When you're going with your pre-snap routine at the varsity level, at the under varsity level, we're going to be a little bit more lenient, but we need to make sure that we have 5 numbers 50 through 79. Now, this would be for an 11-player game. And I share that. I had a varsity game Thursday night, and we had 4 players 50 through 79. So that was a flag. Both the umpire threw, the umpire's primary, the referee is secondary. I threw on it as well. Well, now we go another play later. After we had explained it to coach, he made a substitution. They still didn't have 5 numbers 50 through 79. Another flag came out. And then I had to have a conversation with the coach. So that is also a pre-snap item. Okay. Well, we got it fixed. It was on the coach. What he knew it was wrong and he messed up. We get to 9 player. And as a referee, when I meet with the head coaches, I will specifically ask, who are your 3 interior linemen? Now, we don't have to worry about 50 through 79, but I write down those 3 right on my game card. So the snapper, let's say, is 56. The left guard in a traditional setup is 22, and the right guard is 37. I have those 3 numbers written down on my game card because now, if we get a situation where those guys are downfield, we got a problem. Okay. And for the 9 player, it does get to be a little bit confusing because we throw 50 through 79 straight out the window. So when I talk to the other coach, I also write that down. So that's just, something to think about when you're working 9 player. Now, that whole 50 through 79, I'm working a 7th grade game. I don't care. Working an 8th grade game. I don't care. JV, you possibly might care, sort of depending upon the situation. Okay. So just, something to think through. Tim, anything to add on that from your perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're meeting with the coach, all 5 of us meet with the coach pregame, right? So I would recommend talking to your referee, White Hat. How do you want me to interject that conversation? And the reason that I say that is because all 5 of us meet with a coach, um, and we don't want to overtalk each other. So, if I go out and work in like a college game, I'll let my white hat lead that conversation. So I would say ask your referee if you're an umpire, when when can I ask that question? But it is a very good question. And then the other thing too, if it's a 9 player game, do you have subs? What other players will be in there? So you have the left guard is 63 for the most part. You have another 29, a 15. What about, scrimmage kicks, that kind of thing. But I would be very careful with the pregame conversation because you don't want to overwhelm that coach because that coach is seeing five people that he or she may have never seen before. And it's like, oh, wait a second, wait a second. So I would defer to the referee, and the referee, the white hat, should lead most of the conversation, if not all of the conversation. Single point of contact, single voice. That's my opinion. Feel free to add on.
I agree with that. Try to hammer down an approach as a crew when you're meeting with the coaches ahead of time. Yep.
And if you're on a swing crew, and we've all been on swing crews, hey, referee, how do you want me to talk to the coach? And that's a big deal. It really is. It may seem trivial, but when you're talking with the coach, that's communication. It really is.
One thing that I do when I take my crews out on Friday nights, I will lead the conversation with the referee. I have a certain order of events that I talk through.
Yep.
I have that written down on a little note card. I glance at that note card before I meet with the coach, or it might be sitting in my hand. But what I always do is I always turn to my crew right in front of the coach and say, crew, do you have anything to add? What did I miss? What I'm doing is I'm giving them permission to talk. Okay. Now they can talk at other times too, but I'm really yielding to them. Hey, what did I miss? And they know it's coming. Because we talk this right through during our pregame. So, then that gives the umpire, a chance to say something, or maybe the coach has a rules question. Hey, we saw this on film, or hey, this happened in a previous game. What's the rule on that? Well, so then we walk through that. Now, I will lead that conversation, but if I need help, I'm going to yield to my three. The one I got the other night from a coach, it surprised me, but the coach goes, this is a varsity game. If they would kick the ball out of bounds on a kickoff, what are my options as a coach? And I said, well, you go 5 yards back and you re-kick. You place the ball at the 35-yard line, which is 25 yards from the previous spot, or you could tack 5 yards on. So I gave the coach the example. The ball goes out of bounds at the 37-yard line. We're not even going to give the option of the 35. We're going to tack 5 on and go to the 42. And the coach didn't know that you could tack 5 on. Well, most of the time, that's not even an option because the ball went out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Well, why would you tack 5 on?
Right.
But I simply share that in that when you meet with the coach, be ready for a rules question. Now, it's not like they're going to try to play gotcha. They're trying to learn, and you have a crew there that can support you in that conversation. I've talked too much on this. Let's move on.
No, real quick, I would say rules question, let the referee answer that question, period. If the referee needs help, hey, Tim, are you good with that? Umpire, are you good with that? Let the referee answer that question because you don't want to have 3 people trying to answer his or her question. That would not be a good situation. Let one person answer it. Like Jared said, I need help. Hey, JT, if we have this, what do or look, I will look at you, JT, and I would be like, hey, answer this question for me, please.
Right. And then, I would just add one more thing is not being a referee. I then think about the application piece. So then I might help to clarify, as JB said, yeah, if the ball goes out at the 37, we're going to tack on 5. But then I might come in if he asks me, you guys got anything else? And I might say, right. So coach, your sideline official is going to come up to you and ask you for your option. So, be prepared to make a decision when your sideline official requests it. Right. So just to make sure that they understand the process, that it's not just oh, the officials decide to put it there. No, coach is going to have options. Be prepared to make a decision. So
And then
just
get them, yeah, get on the O2O. Get on the
yep.
O2O. We should all be having O2Os. Yep. We said
Okay,
enough. Move on.
good. All right, so that covers pre-snap routine in terms of
Wow.
oh,
Almost 35 minutes of pre-snap. I love it. I love it.
it's important. Darn it,
It
it's
is. It actually is. It truly is the most important part of the game. I would agree.
good. All right, so moving on from that, the other piece, sorry, I need to bring up my data here a second. Sorry, I had it. Oh, the other major component can be captured by mechanics in terms of feedback, right? So continue to get into the Minnesota State High School League mechanics book, right? If you're assigned to a varsity game in particular and you know your position, make sure you know your position well going into those games so that your pregame can be effective, and then you can have that sort of visual or mindset as you walk through, quiz plays, for example, right? On the trip, we're going through the quizzes. You would be answering or contributing to the conversation on the quizzes based upon the position that you're going to work and that you've prepped ahead of time looking at the mechanics manual. So continue to pay attention to your mechanics, making sure that we're doing things not too quickly, right? So sometimes we get happy feet, right? Slow down. I often use the acronym STFD. Slow you know what the F is, down, right? So STFD, slow down. When you're ruling on a foul, something that can help you slow down is it's a foul, it's a foul, it's a foul, right? The first foul, yep, you see something suspect, right? You have a jersey grab. Okay, so it's a foul. Step two, it's a foul. Okay. Players are moving together in the same direction, right? Plays, let's say it's a sweep off to the right. Players are all moving off to the right. You've got the jersey restriction. Okay, it's foul, it's a foul. And then all of a sudden the runner cuts back into the left. Defender tries to move back into the left, but that jersey grab now becomes a direct pull and takes the feet away from the defender. That's the third foul. That's when our flag is, right? So oftentimes we trick ourselves by going too fast. Okay, so slow down. It's a foul, it's a foul, it's a foul. Okay. There's no such thing. You might hear it on TV tonight, or maybe you heard it today. Oh, those flags were late. Late flag in. Incorrect. In football, there's no such thing as a late flag. All right. So, I kicked one on Saturday where there's a quarterback rolling out away from me. I'm on the line of scrimmage. There was a backside hold, and I saw it. I was maybe too patient. I passed on it, and I shouldn't have. Okay, so even during that processing time, we have to make a decision. But giving yourself that time with slowing down, it's a foul, it's a foul, it's a foul. You can generally put yourself in the correct position to make a ruling on that. Okay, so mechanics wise, slow down. Sometimes we have to be running or moving while we're officiating, right? Particularly, let's talk about a long pass play and you're on the line of scrimmage. You're going to hold the line as much as possible, but what we don't want you to do on a long pass play is to be ruling on a catch or no catch and you're running. Okay, we want you to be stationary if at all possible when it comes time to actually make a ruling on a play. So keep working on the small things with mechanics. The pre-snap routine is going to be helpful. Your body language says a lot about, you and what you're trying to communicate as well. So make sure that you're using the correct signals, right, when we're communicating with the crew as well.
Yeah, I would add on to that. It's a foul, it's a foul, it's a foul. So football is one of the very few sports that I know of anyway, that when you have a foul, a live ball foul does not kill a play. So most times, I mean, the crowd and the coaches, who are they looking at? Quarterback, running back, and possibly the receiver, right? That's who they're looking at. That's who they want to see. You have something in the middle as an umpire, I'm thinking, yeah, he's got him. He's got him. I don't know. I'm gonna pass on that. Nobody cares. But if it's out in space, meaning a whole bunch of people can see it, right? And we got a twist, we got a turn, we got a takedown, whatever. Then we can think about that. But what happens? Do we kill the clock at that point? No, we don't kill the clock. We can think about it, process it. Play happens. Like, you know what? Yeah, that's a foul. I'm going to throw on that. Continue to officiate, and then we can go from there. That's live ball. Dead ball, totally different. I mean, dead ball, false start. Yeah, we got to kill that right away, right? So, agreed. Slow down, slow down. If you come 30 seconds later and throw that flag for a chop block, I've done that. I've thought about that. Shoot, that guy went low. That guy went high. I'm thinking, yeah, that's a chop block. I'm gonna throw. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Anything else, JB, on mechanics? Suggestions or things that you've heard?
Um, couple things, but nothing that what no one hasn't heard already. But just some things I'm seeing in games, some things that I'm seeing um, on some training tape, so forth. Line of scrimmage need to work hard on squaring off your spots. Don't come in and round it. Come on in and square it off. Um, Line of scrimmage officials, when the play is in your area, you need to signal the end of the play. So what am I getting at? Well, if it's a run for 3 yards on first down and we're in bounds, you're going to be coming in with your hand straight up with an open hand, and that's going to signify to your play clock operator, even if you don't have a play clock operator, that the play clock should be starting at 40 seconds and the play is done. If we would have a first down, we square it off, we come on in, and we do 2 flaps to shut the clock down. We have a pass over into the flats over in front of us, and the pass is incomplete. We need to signal that incomplete. So think about your signals. Think about being stationary when you're doing a lot of that. When I signal that incomplete signal, I should be stationary. Um, when I'm coming in with that hand straight up, I'm nice and controlled, and I'm walking in towards the numbers, probably not all the way to the numbers, but I have that accordion effect. When I'm trying to mark first downs, I don't want to have to look over my shoulder to see where it's at. I'm constantly self-talking. Hey, the line to gains of 42, line to gains of 42. We're going in. The ball got to the 41. I've already told myself 5 times that the line to gains of 42. I need to shut that down. Need to tell my referee that it's a first down. As a referee, I've been working hard with my varsity crew, and they were outstanding Friday night. And we were a little shaky on Thursday night about clock status. See, because when I'm the referee, I am absolutely married to the quarterback. And there is a pass that goes down the field. I have no idea if it's caught. I have no idea if it is incomplete. I have no idea if it is out of bounds, etc. Okay. A lot of the times I can tell by the roar of the crowd, okay, what happened.
Yep.
But I need to know the clock status because I wind the clock very quick. All right. And I mean, literally, if it's in the middle of the field, we shut it down, and I'm blowing a whistle right behind the shutdown, and I'm winding. But tell your referee your clock status. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to make sure that you have dead ball taken care of. And then you're probably going to have to flip the ball into the middle. And as soon as you get done flipping the ball, that's when you're going to tell your referee, we're either going to twirl for live or we're going to cross for dead. You could O2O it as well. And, if you don't have O2Os, that's fine. Just use your voice. I mean, many times when I work the line of scrimmage on Saturdays, and Tristan Severson is my referee, especially if he's on my side of the field, because he's always on the right side, I won't even O2O it. I just holler at him. But Tristan, we're dead. Yeah, we're live. Okay, so I cannot stress that enough, that you're trying to make that white hat know and have knowledge on the clock status, because the white hat is the ultimate game manager. And if I know the clock status, I can get in and out of penalty. I can keep the game moving, and it can be a very smooth. So just think about that. Think about automatic times when you're going to stop the clock. I had a sub on my crew a couple of weeks ago, and several kickoffs, he was the calling official, and he didn't stop the clock. So we know that on a kickoff, someone needs to legally wind the clock on a legal touch. All right. And then we need to stop the clock once that player is tackled. All right. So that's an automatic in there. Think through when you have a fourth down play and say to yourself, or, use the O2O, we have a clock stopper, because now regardless what happens on fourth down, we're going to stop the clock. So just think through those automatics. And I mean, I know this is all stuff that you've heard before, but I got to tell you, as a crew chief and seeing evaluations come through, because Mike Graff has been doing some evaluations of some varsity crews. So I've seen those, and it is the same thing that we're talking to first and second year people, that we're talking to veterans about, that we have to, square off. We have to stop the clock. If we would have a first touch on a kickoff, we have to get a beanbag down, all sorts of things like that. Because football, when you get right down to it, it's so big on mechanics and positioning. It's huge. And the philosophy behind that, coming from the State High School League, is if we can put you in the ultimate position and your mechanics are solid, your call accuracy increases, and you are a better and a more accurate calling official when you have flags down. So that's
a couple things to add to that. No, that was great. A couple things to add real quick is that middle of the game, as soon as the umpire has a sniff of the ball, I'm winding the clock. Meaning the umpire almost has the ball, I'm winding that clock on a first down, whatever the case may be. Keep in mind, less than 2 minutes or 2 minutes in either half, I am stopping. I'm waiting for my umpire to be in position. I'm waiting for my line of scrimmage to be in position. As soon as they're good, then I'm going to wind it, right? So that's a big difference between 3 minutes into the first half. Just wind that, right? And Joe, you know me, Joe Clunder, you know me. I'm winding that sucker as fast as I possibly can, because it's already a long game. Just something to think about. We're going to slow things down with 2 minutes or about 2 minutes remaining in each half. Slow down even more. Unless it's a 40-point game, then we're like, just let's go. Let's just get it done. Joe, you're going to say something, Joel. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just going to go back to what JB was talking about with knowing the clock status. So I went and got my
look at you.
My down indicators here. So I think we talked about this in the preseason mechanics training that we had. So I use two down indicators, and umpires might be a little, well, you can talk through it too, Tim. But I use
Always two, no matter what position you
Yep.
are, two of them.
Two. Okay. So,
Period.
and there's a reason for it. So here we go. I use my right hand for the down, obviously. So when we get the fourth down, I know that I've got the clock stopper, right? To JB's point. Now with my left hand, because ball positioning, unlike the umpire, so the umpire, you can use this for ball positioning, right? So left hash, right? Left middle can go around your ring finger, middle, obviously there, and then left middle, and then right. Is that how you use it, Tim?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So
That's
position 5 is opposite press box. Position 4, and get your coaches to know that. That just makes sense. Sorry, go ahead.
So
Advanced mechanic.
whatever's gonna work for you to understand ball positioning if you're the umpire, so that if you have a long deep pass, you know where to go, where to put the ball after you need to reset it. For line of scrimmage, I use my
On a
left
foul.
hand
On a
on a
foul.
yeah, on a foul.
Yep.
For line of scrimmage, I use my left hand indicator for clock status. So if I'm down on my palm, we're winding. We've got a live clock. Okay. If I've got it over my fingers, right, we're shut down. Okay. So after every play, I'm checking my down indicators. I'm checking with the clock. I'm checking with the down. I'm checking on my down box. I'm knowing my line to gain. It's all part of that pre-snap routine. So whatever you need to do to get a physical or visual indicator of the important things that you need, I would highly encourage you to incorporate that into your game. The other piece that has specifically come back in because we do like the all pieces of the uniform are game cards. Okay. Now over time, I've been doing this for 16, 17 years now. And I'm at a point now where I have tons of information on my game cards. Okay. Tim's got an example of you can buy game cards from the like purchase officials, Honigs, those types of things. But I make my own. And there's a lot of information on here. And over time, it's grown and it's become a bit complex, but it has everything that I need. Like if I'm working a 9-person game, I've got a spot here where I have a formation, kicking formations in particular, punt and field goal, where I'm writing down those interior numbers, particularly the snapper, right? So that he's not going downfield. And then all sorts of information. And then this year's edition is warnings down here on the bottom. I've got scores up here, timeouts, and so on. So I can give my template to Tim to post on the internet or on our website. Yeah, absolutely,
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes. Yep.
So I can,
Yep.
and then you can print these off. I use cardstock or whatever. You'll have to probably play around with your printer settings to make sure that it comes out in a foldable card if you want it. But I'll make sure Tim gets that as well as the pre-snap routine document or something maybe a little more put together than my rough
Well,
input.
pre-snap is different per position, but it's the
Correct.
basic, right?
But the point is coming up with tools that will assist you in just taking care of things so that doesn't have to take up any of your mental energy. You've already got the information. If you have a question, you check your card. Oh, did I warn them on their offensive formation? Sure did. Okay. First period. Okay. 3 minutes and 23 seconds. What was the issue? Wide receiver was off the line. So we'll put these tools out on the website and you can modify it however it's going to help you. So.
Yeah, timeouts are important too. When we have a timeout, I always go in the 0-2-0. 3, 2, 2, 1. Meaning they have 2, they have 1. Very, very important because there's been times like, shoot, I had another timeout. No, you didn't. Or after a timeout, third down, third down, third down. Yep, third down.
Yep. Because
line of game or chain crew is not always accurate.
Right. And those types of pieces of information can sour a game.
Yep.
And so we need to be perfect on those. So
I've always said be good at the things that require no talent. Think about that. Joe, I know I've told you that before. Be good at the things that require no talent.
Good. All right. Any other thoughts or questions on mechanics or tools or things that we've presented to this point?
I would just say football, there's a lot of mechanics, there's a lot of things, but my gosh, it is such a fun game to work. It really, really is. Enjoy those 8 weeks because they go by like that.
And thanks for that, Tim. I focus on the areas for improvement. There's a lot of stuff coming through on the evals that are excellent.
Oh
So,
my gosh, yes.
I mean, you all as a group have so much to be proud of. So many kudos. I couldn't put it all in a one-page document. So, really good stuff. Keep it up. You're doing a great job, and you should take pride in that because
Absolutely.
it's really good. We're putting out a really good product for our schools, and I hope they appreciate it. I think they do, but you're doing an excellent job. So kudos.
I can't even, I mean, that's just so obvious. It's so good.
Yep.
Because JT, JB, and I, we don't want to work forever. Well, maybe JB does because, we need replacements, right? So thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Yep. All right. So that's all I have, JB. Do you want to talk about some nuts and bolts to wrap up the year?
Yeah. So what'll take place this week? I will work with Tim Nicometto to get this set up. And Thursday or Friday of this week, I'll be sending out an email to all football officials on your dues that need to be paid for the season. So the dues are every game you worked at the under varsity level is $2. Every varsity game you worked is $3. And the best way to go about paying dues, and I will explain this in the email, is to pay online. And you simply look at your arbiter, you count up, okay, I did 14 lower level games and I did one varsity game. And you put that in and it will calculate out whatever you owe. Let's say that you owe $40. You pay that. That money comes into me as the secretary, and I collect all that money for all of our sports, volleyball, basketball, baseball, softball. And that money that comes in goes directly out to the scheduler. So the football money, obviously, since I'm the scheduler, all that money comes into the secretary treasurer. And then I take that money as payment for the scheduling. That's the way that the bylaws have us set up. So you'll see an email coming on that. I always get the question, hey, I was scheduled for a seventh and an eighth grade game, back-to-back junior high games, or a ninth grade and a JV game. How does that work? You're counting the games. So you're not counting the day that you work. So if you worked a seventh grade game and an eighth grade game, it'd be $2 for the seventh grade, $2 for the eighth grade. And then the same with like a ninth and a JV. I do have a couple of folks that sent me their games from their community. Like I think of some of my Cass and Manorville friends on here. Brock does a lot of that scheduling with all of you directly, and you just send the games to me just so you have your schedule all in one place. And just work with me on those. I'm not looking to take $2 from you. If Brock was the one that lined everything up, and I'm simply putting it out on Arbiter. So well, we can talk one-on-one with that. I'm thinking sort of Justin here. I'm thinking Brian Himley. So looking ahead to what we have remaining, playoff assignments will go out either late tonight, early tomorrow morning for our varsity crews. I schedule the playoffs for Section 1, 9 players, Section 1A, 1AA, and 1-3A. So what case in point, I need 14 crews to work Tuesday, October 22nd, 10 crews to work October 26th, and 5 crews to work Friday, November 1st, which is the section final. Just so you understand that the playoffs will be assigned, section quarters and semifinals are assigned. Everything is assigned TBA versus TBA. Once I get a clean bracket on Thursday from the coordinators, then I will put in exactly who's going where. The section finals, I'm waiting just a little bit more to assign section finals, and I will explain this to the crew chiefs on our 7:30 Zoom tonight. The state tournament was selected this past Thursday, October 10th. The crews need to apply for the state tournament. Mike Graff, our regional coordinator, and the rest of the regional coordinators, they met at the State High School League offices on Thursday and made all of their state tournament assignments. So state tournament assignments should be coming out soon, like within a couple of days. So looking ahead for all of you to next year, what does all of this mean? Well, if you are a first year person, I take a look at Austin Baylor on here. I'm going to use Austin as an example. A first year official, worked a bunch of junior high games, worked a couple of JVs, a 9th grade game, getting his feet wet. Next year, he will go into the second year piece of it, the evaluation piece, and he will be evaluated for at least 7 games. Okay. That's his track. I take a look at a gentleman like Joe Klunder that I'm looking at. Yeah, this is Joe's second year. Joe worked first year, last year like Austin. This year, he has came on in and worked a pile of games, got his 7 evaluations done, even worked 1 or 2 varsity games along the way when we were super busy. Joe will then, he and many others will then at the annual meeting, which we'll have in June, Joel Traver will give a quick report as the vice president and recommend Joe and others to be full-time varsity members. Okay. It's more of, yep, it's a stamp. Okay. So now Joe goes on to the sub list for varsity games. He'll continue to work lower level games, but he'll be on the sub list for varsity Friday nights. He will then also, when a crew needs a new crew member, the crew chief will reach out to me and say, hey, do you have a list of folks that are ready for varsity level? Joe's name would be submitted on that list. And there's a good opportunity that Joe and others will be on full-time varsity crews next year. Here's why I say that. We have 14 crews. We are not looking to add another crew. Okay. So we'll be locked in at 14 on next year. But every year we have someone that retires. We have someone that moves away. We have a job change that doesn't allow someone to ref Friday night. So, I mean, every year we have, I don't even want to throw a number, but I will, 5 to 6 to 10 new varsity officials that are needed. So that's the process. I work with the referee to select the best fit for their crew. And for many of you, the first 2 years, you're working with all sorts of people and you're getting to know people. And that's awesome because they get to know you as well. Because I've had a number of referees have come back to me and say, hey, I worked with such and such the other night. I'd take them for sure. They do a solid job. I'd take them on my crew. Okay. So there's a process in place. You have to trust the process. You have to let it play out. But I guarantee you, when I look at 2025 and everyone on this Zoom, there'll be plenty of football for everyone, and there'll be many varsity opportunities. Every week at the varsity level, we need subs. Okay. I mean, because life happens and we need a sub here. We need a sub there. I mean, you name it. So, Joel, Tim, anything I missed with sort of what does the next step look like?
Not really. Okay. I mean, just because a referee reaches out to you and says, I want you, you don't have to say yes.
Correct.
You don't have to say yes. it would probably be okay to be on the sub list. Currently, I am on the sub list for the last 5 years. I like being on the sub list because that's the way I am, but you don't have to say yes, but you probably should. Or reach out to others and say, hey, what do you think about this referee, this crew? Reach out to veterans and say, what are your thoughts on this crew? I mean, that's all I have to say.
I've got nothing to add.
Yeah.
All right. What, any questions from anyone out there? Anything that we didn't address, or you got a rules question, you were said something, but you want, okay, you want affirmation, what, anything from any of you? Please, what, unmute, speak, or throw it in the chat.
Like I've said with all the people that I've worked with that are new officials, just because Tim Nakamoto says it doesn't mean it's quite accurate. Get in the rule book, get in the mechanics book, and understand that rule or that mechanic.
I just have a few comments here. I don't know if I have a lot of questions. It's been a so as you define year two for me, and just for all on the call here, I've done RAOA for 28 years in different sports, football being my newest here in the second year. And it's been fantastic. Joel and every one of my crews, I have nothing but wonderful things to say. Really, really good things. And I think every official on this call should really be thankful we're in the RAO program. They do just an amazing job. And I wrote just a ton of stuff down just from this last hour here.
Appreciate it.
And again, it's stuff that's I know I've heard it before, but I'll write it down again because it just ingrains. We've talked about this. There's so much going on every play, and there's just so many decisions to make and pre-snap stuff, and it's exciting. It's scary. We're human. We not always perfect, and that's in every sport. But
Never.
I think as an official, you should be proud and we enjoy it because it goes fast, and all of a sudden you'll be done. And so enjoy it. And again, thank you for Joel and Jared and Tim for all your feedback. It's been great.
Yeah, it goes fast, and then it's basketball season, which never ends.
That's true.
Yeah. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you, Joe.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Joe.
appreciate that. Absolutely. And
From a
for
question,
JT, myself, and JB, we're not here for ourselves. We're here for you because the game deserves the best, and that's what we're here for. At least me. It's kind of corny, but yeah, it's true.
what Austin Baylor has in the chat, when you shadow a crew, where is the best place to stand? When you shadow with my crew, I'll just give you some examples. I would love for you to ride with us if possible, at least meet us at the site. We try to get to the site at 5:30. We have our pregame, sometimes in the car, sometimes at the site, sometimes a combination thereof. We take the field at 6:15, and I'm going to have you walk with us to each coach. I'm going to introduce you to the coach. You're going to hear my conversation with the coach. We'll take care of home coach. We go to a visiting coach. I'm going to have you beside me when it's me and the umpire doing the coin flip, because I want to hear, or I want you to hear what I'm going to tell the captains. Okay. And then during the game, I'm going to give you a clipboard. I'm going to give you a penalty report. I'm going to hopefully have an extra radio for you and an earpiece so you can hear the conversation. And more than likely, I'm going to have you on the chain side of the field. And I'm going to tell that coach that you're over there and that you are a part of us. And you're going to record penalties for us. We might get on the 020. Hey, I'm going to write down my time of that play. But we got to look for a potential miss block below the waist on that play. okay, or a potential holding. Boy, the coach is going nuts about a hold. We didn't have it as a hold. We had it as a pancake block, but let's take a look at that. So, I mean, you're jotting notes down at halftime, what you come with us wherever we go. Um, and then you do the same thing in the second half, and then you come with us, post game. And if you come with me, I'm going to probably take you out for a burger, a beer, or a beverage afterwards, and thank you. So, Austin, hopefully that answers your question. And
Yeah.
Brian, Brian, I like your answer too. I go where the white hat tells me.
So yeah, if you come out with me, I want you part of that pregame, period. Matter of fact, about 15 years ago, I was shadowing Crew Butson, and Butson said, Nicometto, give us a pregame. Like, holy shit. So I led the pregame. You probably don't remember that, which is fine.
I
But
don't.
yeah, lead the pregame. Why not?
All right. If we don't have anything else, had a situation a couple Mondays ago with two UNS on a single player during a dead ball. Okay, yeah, I know your situation. Um, so so let's clear up UNS and personal foul because I've had two coaches in the last 2 weeks say to me at the varsity level, well, that's a personal foul late hit. Yep. They get one more, they're gone. No, they could have 50 personal fouls. So we rough the passer, personal foul. Personal foul with illegal blindside block. Personal foul, block below the waist. Personal foul, chop block. We can have 50 of those in a game. Unsportsmanlike conduct, now we're going down a different path, and that's non-contact. So think of someone saying something. Think of
FU.
some kind of unsporting act. All right. So with this situation, they had a player they got really upset in the middle of the field, was cussing, swearing, flag goes, what UNS. The kid's walking off the field, and then he makes another very derogatory comment to the official that he's walking past, what close to the sideline. He gets another UNS. Now we have a situation that player is done for the night, and the referee will then file a game report with the Minnesota State High School League. That game report does come to Joel Traver and I, so we can take a look at it prior to them submitting to the State High School League, simply to just take a peek to make sure that we're listing factual information and taking the subjectivity out of the report. And then that gets filed. So that's what happened. Wish we had slowed down a bit in that situation. Yeah, balance between keeping the game moving and getting a delicate situation correct. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the game inside the game, Brian. So
Yeah, just that reflective piece, Brian, is key.
Yep.
So big time learning point. So good work.
So
Okay.
Anybody have anything else?
I'm just going to share the game card quick on how that works. So bear with me a second here. I'll just go with my desktop.
JT, we're in overtime right now, just so you know. Okay.
Well, there's a spot for that on the card. So so this is the one that'll be posted. It's called bifold. So it's a bifold card. And I'll show you what it looks like for an actual game. So you've got visiting team on one side, home team on the other, right? So timeouts. I just have like a time, but I always put a quarter in there as well, right? Make sure that you put first quarter, second quarter in there with your pen. The quarter one, quarter three is our change in the quarter. So you put the team down, the down, yard line, hash, so on and so forth.
That's huge, by the way.
Yep. So
huge.
Okay. Then you go into scoring, right? Depending on the teams in the game, you could use all those spaces, you might not. And then we go to warnings. So just if you have time, marking down what the issue was, okay? And then they get a warning for each of these different categories, right? And this is the verbal warning that you've talked with the coach. Hey, fix this, mark it down, quarter time, and so on. That way, when you flag it later on, you have those data. Okay, so this, if you print this, it'll be two different cards because you'll cut right in the middle here, right? And then you fold it this way, if that makes sense. Okay. And then the other side, so it's flipped. They go diagonal when you on this sheet, but when you flip the page and print them, they'll be on the same side. Does that make sense? So that's why they're flipped. And then you have things like home team, head coach. And by the way, it'll be a Word document, so you can put in, right? So you should be able to see this when I put it as a PDF. Um, zoom it out here. Nope. Okay. So anyway, when you do, if you put it into a PDF, you can see it too. But
So I'll make it a fillable PDF. I
uh,
can,
e- either way, because so then I change the colors and things too, because I'm
yep.
not smart enough to, read all the time. So I just go to the colors of the teams to mark down the information as well. So like for example, this Wednesday, I've got it all set up for our match down in Chatfield. That Cannon Falls is going there. So for college, I do the same thing, but I put in like key running backs and their yardage and, just keep players to watch, keep an eye on in terms of like, always going to number 8, right? So if you're 12 and in and they have a stud receiver, number 8, who's 6'5", and they're gonna probably throw a fade to the back of the end zone, I'm gonna put that on the card to make sure that I know that I can expect that type of thing. Okay, and then toss stuff is at the bottom here, right? So did they win the toss in the first, chose to defer, and then you can, kick from the clock, kick to the clock, which is applicable everywhere else but Winona. So, you have to might modify that. So anyway, that's kind of how it's used. Play around with it if you need it. But yeah, you could post either the Word version, Tim, or I can
Yeah,
get
yeah. And the key players, that comes from pregame film.
yes.
We don't always have that in college. Yes, we do. And I mean in college, I pregame and review both teams. High school, we're not going to have that, and we get that. But yeah,
Yep. But
so
if you're watching warm-ups, that you can jot some notes during warm-ups
yeah,
if
yeah,
it
yeah.
piques
I
your
would definitely encourage you to get a few snaps each way.
Yep.
Just watch them. Just watch them. So
Okay, JB,
this
I'm
has been
done.
great. We are way over time. Probably my fault, right, JT?
Yeah, I'll put it on you.
That's cool. That's cool.
Sometimes you're named Talking Tim.
That's fine. I will take it because I want everybody to be better. Period.
That's right.
That's all I care about.
Thanks, Tim.
All right. Yeah. Joel Traver will be wrapping up with some emails coming your way on the completion of the program. Um, I'll be sending some stuff your way for dues. If you have any questions, please work through the two of us, work through your mentoring crew as well as we come to an end with the season. Thank you to everyone for your work, both on the field and off the field. As you know, there's a lot of work off the field, whether it be rules, whether it be Zooms, whether it be training tapes, what you name it. So thank you. Thank you for joining us this season. Have a great night. Bye,
Yeah,
everyone.
absolutely. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.